So everyone, it's about time to start the board meeting. Welcome. This is the open part of the board meeting, where we first will do an update on what's been going on with Intentional Insights for the last month or so, since the last board meeting, and stuff like that. Agnes will talk more about it. Let me share the software itself. So we've been doing a whole variety of things to build up this infrastructure. On the website itself, we've been building out the information about how to, let's say, get in touch with the ProTruth Pledge and report a violation. So now you'll see a contact. If you go to protruthpledge.org, you'll see a contact form where there's an option to report a violation, instructions of doing so. We've also been working on some blogs, so blogs on pitching public figures, blogs on gathering signatures and getting reimbursements, and a variety of other blogs, let's say in public speaking and so on. So those blogs are going to be really helpful for people who are doing ProTruth Pledge work on the ground to enable them to do this work. Other activities that we've been doing is we've been setting up structures to help the ProTruth Pledge go forward. So we've been setting up, let's say, committees like the targeting committee, and there's a leader of the targeting committee is on this phone call, Lorenzo Neal. So setting up a targeting committee, which will soon be directing volunteers to that, in order to enable us to target people across the world more strategically. So right now we're doing targeting sort of ad hoc. Area organizers in each area are targeting people in their own area. Now what we want to do is be also, in addition to doing that, do more strategic targeting of people. Another thing that we're
targeting, I'm sorry, people nationally, or nationally recognized, not just
yes, globally. Yes,
globally, yeah.
Globally recognized.
Celebrities and executives for
political leaders,
around the country and around the world.
Exactly. Yes, so that's another area. Another thing we've been doing is we've participated in the March for Civility. So that has happened on the 23rd. So we've did that, and we've been building up. Published a couple of articles, including a prominent piece in Scientific American, which got us some recognition, which is good. We've also been doing a study of the ProTruth Pledge impact, and a number of you here have participated in that study. So the impact of this ProTruth Pledge in shaping people's social media sharing, and that's meant to address the scourge of fake news that plagues the world, essentially, our country, the United States, other countries. So seeing what kind of impact the ProTruth Pledge has on that. So we've been doing a lot of this sort of work, infrastructural work, behind the scenes sort of work, and that's been more on the forefront than doing pitching to public figures and private citizens, because what we want to do is we want to be prepared for more and more people getting involved, and that takes building up an infrastructure which would be able to handle an influx of more and more people. You know, I was just speaking on the phone to recently to one of our donors, a pretty prominent donor who has a good idea of the kind of potential the ProTruth Pledge might have, and he said, "Well, are you really prepared for what would happen if somebody like Jimmy Kimmel started talking about the ProTruth Pledge on their show? Are you prepared for 150,000 people to go to your website, and start signing up?" And I don't think we're prepared for that. So that's what we want to be prepared for. We want to build up the infrastructure to be prepared for that sort of thing. One of the things we're doing for that, and that Bentley Davis, who is the chair of the ProTruth Pledge project and also the main website developer, he is creating a new form to get people signed up for the ProTruth Pledge, which would send out automatic emails to anyone who signs up, which is definitely something we'll need to do if we suddenly get a huge influx of people, if a prominent celebrity starts talking about the ProTruth Pledge. So these are the kinds of things we're working on, also working in the background on books and other projects relating to improving the ProTruth Pledge. So that's what I want to share with you about. And right now is your opportunity to ask any questions that you might have about what I've updated you on, about the Pro-Truth Pledge project and any other activities that have been going on with Intentional Insights for the last month or so. So you can either ask your questions by unmuting yourself and asking the question verbally, or asking a question in the chat box. So you could all see the chat box. Agnes has just typed something in there. So that's.
I'm also looking away because I'm the board secretary and I'm taking meetings, so I'm just like looking at my computer.
Mm-hmm. And she has awesome purple hair, as you can see. Okay, so please, questions now about anything that I talked about, any of our plans, anything that we've been focusing on in the last month or so.
Well, we lost Lorenzo.
Hopefully he'll come back.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, there he is.
He's back.
Again, welcome any questions. This is your time to ask questions of me and other leaders of the
We should introduce the
Intentional
other
Insights.
leaders.
Yes, so you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, I can introduce myself. I'm Agnes Vishnevkin. I'm the co-founder of Intentional Insights, which is the parent nonprofit of the Pro-Truth Pledge Project. And I'm the vice president. And welcome to the board meeting.
Alex, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hello, I'm Alex Weisenfels. I'm another board member. I'm based in Madison, Wisconsin, and I run the Informal Coaching Project.
Excellent. And Bentley, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Bentley Davis, chair of the Central Coordinating Committee for Pro-Truth Pledge, and like Leb said, work on the Pro-Truth Pledge website. So that's what I'm up to.
Cindy, what about you? Are you able to introduce yourself? I know you were in the car recently. Okay, Cindy may not be able to introduce herself, so Cynthia is her formal name. So I'll turn it over to Lorenzo, who is in charge of the Pro-Truth Pledge Committee, Pro-Truth Pledge Targeting Committee. Lorenzo, can you unmute yourself and introduce yourself?
I'm in the car, so I hope you can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you.
I am Lorenzo Neal, and I am the chair of the targeting committee for the Pro-Truth Pledge, and I'm based in Jackson, Mississippi, and a pastor of the New Bethel A&B Church in Jackson, Mississippi.
Thank you, Lorenzo.
Excellent.
Okay. So those are the leaders, and George Lovelace, your question was answered. And Agnes, can you also give the link to the organizational health document and all that stuff, or the history and background?
Yes, I will send that separately. Yes.
That will be sent separately. Great. Welcome other questions that other people have.
I think you do such a good job of communicating. We don't have any questions.
That's totally fine.
Thank you, Jane. That's very kind.
You've already filled us in on everything.
Okay, great. Well, I definitely want to give people an opportunity. This is, for the sake of transparency, and if anyone has any questions. But it sounds like if nobody has questions, I'll count down to 5.
Well, I didn't introduce myself. I'll just say quickly. My name is Jane, and if you guys have any ideas that you want made into a meme, pass them forward. And when I have time, I do it. When I don't, I call out to the other guys, and we all kind of work together on images, and then post them up to you guys to get feedback. So if you have ideas and you're not sure how to make them happen, send them to us.
Wonderful. Thank you very much.
Jane is an artist in New York City.
And she helps lead our meme creation project.
Anybody here in New York? Anyone coming to New York?
New York, as we say it in New York.
Yes. New
Have
York.
Awesome.
Food will host anybody.
Thank you.
Oh, that's kind. Thank you.
Okay. So 5. Oh yes, that's that question.
I'd start things rolling. So I know that with the rational politics movement, we've been emphasizing that. So is the shoot, is on the newsjacking? That's it. Is that still an emphasis, or are we sort of moving away from that because of the focus on rational politics, or is that more important than ever?
So good question. Newsjacking is a specific strategy where we take advantage of articles and news relevant topics to write an article that is that injects the kind of things that we want discussed into the discourse. And that's just a strategy that we employ. We're not particularly moving away from it. So for example, when I recently, I do most of the newsjacking because I'm the most prominent person in the team. And so, for example, I recently talked to Ethan Behrman, who is someone who took the Pro-Truth Pledge. He's the number 57 talk show host in the country, as rated by Talkers Magazine. He appears on Fox and CNN regularly, and he has a radio show of his own. So I talked on his radio show about Trump's transgender directive and how that effectively, the spin around that was a form of gaslighting the transgender community by basically claiming that the transgender directive was not discriminatory, whereas in fact it was quite discriminatory. So that was a way of talking about what the gaslighting means and how to essentially confusing people about the truth of reality and using that confusion as a tool, as a strategy. So something that goes very much against the principles of the pro-truth pledge and rational thinking, right? Confusing people about the nature of reality. So we deploy that tool when and if we have an opportunity to do so, and when I or other people who have a outlet for public venues are able to jump on a topic quickly enough and bring it to the attention of the media. Thank you for asking the question, Alex. Other questions?
Why is my mother mean?
I wish I could answer that.
No.
Outside the scope.
Why?
Yes.
Right.
That'd be something you could reach out to me about if you're serious.
Yes, the informal coaching project might be the good place to go to about that. Thank you. Thank you, Alex.
Great.
Okay, counting down from 5. 5.
4, 3, 2, 1.
Okay. 4.
Can I just also just elaborate on the informal coaching project, which Alex
Sure.
leads, which is an opportunity that's just for supporters, volunteers, and donors of Intentional Insights. And so Pro-Truth Pledge project is the biggest project of Intentional Insights. Our other work involves using the latest research in psychology and cognitive science to help us make better decisions. And so you can see how Pro-Truth Pledge came out of that, because it's really based in the latest science, to use science to help people pre-commit to the truth. And so we offer informal coaching, and Alex coordinates a program where volunteers, supporters coach each other on making wise decisions and building their relationships using tools from the latest science in psychology and cognitive science and behavioral economics. So that's something that's just an internal program. We might roll it out later. Perhaps it may be a fundraiser to other folks, but right now it's just a special opportunity. So talk to Alex if you'd like.
Alex, I actually do happiness seminars, so if you want, we can talk about that.
Oh, great. Great. You can connect about that. Awesome.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll send you an email.
Great.
Nice.
Thanks, Jen.
Perfect. Well, that was good. Excellent connection made. Maybe Jane will be a potential coach. Great. Let's go on to the next topic, which is finances and fundraising. And for that, I'll turn it over to our fundraising and finance chair, Agnes Vishniakin.
Okay. Thanks. So I have the privilege of being the chair of fundraising for Intentional Insights and by extension for the Pro-Truth Pledge. Just to kind of sum up the finances of our organization, we run on a budget of about $42,000 per year, just over $42,000 per year. And we've been around for 3 years. We don't have any paid staff at this time. We have some subcontractors that we pay for about 1/3 of their time, and they volunteer about 2/3 of their time. And these are some folks with experience in website management and social media. This is how we're able to have a consistent presence, amplifying a message on multiple social media platforms, especially Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Pinterest, you name it, and how we're able to maintain our blog. We have a blog on Psychology Today, on Huffington Post, on Pathos. So those folks really help us out so that Gleb and I are able to do strategy, high-level programming, building out the infrastructure, and doing fundraising. So that's something that we do, and most of the $42,000 per year is usually done by a few major donors, as well as interest-free loans from some of our board members. So right now we're not really breaking even, unfortunately. So we might spend $42,000 a year, and as you can imagine, it's kind of on a shoestring for the amount of impact that we do and the number of articles that we write and the reach that we have. And we, I think, raise maybe just over half of that, maybe 57%, and the rest has been kind of, we're trying to make ends meet there. So that's just something to give perspective, and this is, if you have to ask the one thing that we want to grow the most, and that's our fundraising. And so the funds come from generous folks like you. And the reason I'm talking to you right now is because we have a very exciting opportunity, and you are the first to learn about it. We're going to roll it out to all of our supporters tomorrow morning, but you're the first to hear. We have a very generous donor who stepped up to offer $5,000 to Intentional Insights to support our work and to support the Pro-Truth Pledge to fight lies and promote truth in politics. So that's $5,000 if we can raise $5,000. So we are starting a matching challenge tomorrow, and it will run until October 17th. And we are going to try to raise $5,000, and then the donor will give us 5 more. We'll get $10,000 in just over 2 weeks. So that is very exciting. So if you give $100, we're going to end up with $200. If you can give $1,000, we'll end up with $2,000. You can also make a monthly gift. So say if you give maybe $100 a month, and that will be doubled for a whole year. So $100 a month, instead of being $1,200 for the year, it would be $2,400. Or maybe if that's not in your budget, you can give $10 a month, which will turn into $120, which will be doubled to $240. And so that's kind of how we're trying to make our way to 5,000, so that we can get as much of this match as possible and not leave anything on the table. And so the monthly gifts are really the best thing that you can do to support the work of the Pro-Truth Pledge and other projects of Intentional Insights, because that helps us kind of know what's in the budget. And our costs will be rising as we're starting to support an ever-growing core of Pro-Truth Pledge advocates. We have folks in half of all the United States, in 25 states, in several other countries. And our goal is to have folks in every single state and in many other countries who are gathering signatures, who are contacting their local public officials, political candidates, executives, and community leaders to tell them about the Pro-Truth Pledge and invite them to commit to fact-checking, to calling out others on their lies, and all the other things that we're so passionate about and that many of us are so frustrated about with what's happening in this society. And so we are putting our money to help these folks, because not everyone can afford you know, to drive around town to gather signatures to pay for gas and materials. You know, some folks are taking out a booth at local community events, and those cost at least $100. And we want to make sure that anyone who's able to spread the message can do so, and whether or not they can afford to. So that's kind of a new expense we're taking on to promote the Pro-Truth Pledge as quickly and as widely as possible. In addition to all our ongoing other expenses, we're now having 2 websites instead of just the intentionalinsights.org. We have protruthpledge.org that Bentley is wonderfully managing. And he's a volunteer at this time, and he's giving a lot of his time to this project. At the same time, there's still so many fees to even run a website and host it. And again, that day when Jim Kimmel mentions it or somebody else, probably soon with the targeting committee, you know, we want to make sure that website is up. So I wanted to share this opportunity with you. And if you are interested in just making a one-time gift, we will have a special day on October 10. It's the big give of the Columbus Foundation. We're partnering with them here in Columbus, Ohio, where we're based. We're in Columbus. Yay! I don't know if there's anything special about Columbus. I mean, I don't care. The Columbus Foundation will give us a bonus of 10% for anything we raise on October 10. So if you want to give just a one-time, maybe $100 donation, that's the day to do it, because they'll give us another $10, and our donor will match it as well, one-to-one. So that's just something I wanted to announce. And if you've been excited about the work of the Pro-Truth Pledge, I hope that you will take this opportunity, starting right now, to go on our website at intentionalinsights.org/donate and make your monthly gift there, or give you a one-time gift on October 10th, and stay tuned for information about that. And I know a lot of us are giving our time, and all of you folks are generously giving your time and energy to this cause. And one very impactful thing you can do is vote with your wallet. And I guess put your money where your mouth is, if you can afford it, of course. And especially if you make a monthly donation, you know, $10 or $20 per month, that's much easier than just giving like $240 all at once. So stay tuned for more information, and I'm very excited that you're here for this very first announcement. So that's all, and I'm happy to take any questions. I see there's a question. Let me read that.
No, it's not a question.
So does anyone have any comments or questions or words? Anything?
I think we talked about this before. What do you think about selling product on your page instead of just having donations? At one point I started to, I thought I'll upload some stuff that you can sell on like some site. I forget what it was, but that's too much duplicating what I have to do for work, and that's what I'm doing for work is endless. But I have so much product. I have jewelry, art, gifts, like all sorts of things that you wanted to post on your site. I would be happy to give you a big chunk of the sale. I mean, just like any other store. If I sold wholesale, and I could even go a little lower than my wholesale prices, and that would give you a good margin, and you wouldn't be just asking for donations. You would be, I mean, the holidays are coming, people need gifts, so you could, sell stuff and make money. I don't know if you...
We appreciate it, but it just wouldn't be aligned with our mission, so it would detract from the mission.
But how, I just want to mention that on our website, we want to make sure that we have items that are linked to the mission of the organization. We have some merchandise already on sale at the protruthpledge.org website. That's Pro-Truth Pledge merchandise. And we look forward to in the future putting some onto our new website for Intentional Insights as well. We do have at least one other artist right now who is very generous, just like yourself, Kelly Strateski, and she is helping to fundraise for Intentional Insights by just giving 10%, I believe, of her sales.
Yeah.
And so that way it kind of saves us the work of putting unique items and like a large inventory of and I know you sell unique handmade jewelry, which is really beautiful, but that would be kind of outside of our,
my jewelry.
put that. So if that's something you're willing to do, and just give us a donation based on some of your sales, or perhaps if you sell one piece a month and donate all the proceeds from that to the Pro-Truth Pledge and Intentional Insights, that would be fantastic, if that's something you would like to do. But we're not in a position where we're able to list that on our website.
Well, I understand. If I understand correctly, that you don't want to do it, you want stuff that's in harmony with your message, then another thing I could do, my work is very sculptural and metaphorical. I don't have an image exactly in my head right now, but I could create something that expressed your message. Something that only you would sell, that really, I mean, it's just an idea and it's a very unformed idea, but it's, that would fit in with like a kind of win-win-win situation, and it could express your message and,
let's talk about this offline and not take up people's time. So please formulate your idea as, in the form of your art style, and that would be speak to you, and then we could talk about it separately offline. Cool. But thank you for the idea. Appreciate it. Okay. Other thoughts and questions? I'll count to 5. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right then. So thank you very much for joining us. This has been another open board meeting of Intentional Insights, as an opportunity for all of you as Intentional Insights supporters to learn about what's going on from the horse's mouth and listen in. All right. Thank you for joining us. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.
Have a good night.
Have a good night. Please, board members and potential board members, stay on the call.